So in today's lesson, we're going to be looking at reviewing adding and subtracting fractions. No, it's not everybody's favorite thing, but is still something we need to look at. We do want to make sure we always write our answers in simplest form, so always simplify if you can. Going over the warm-up problems first. These all have a common denominator, so you just go ahead and you add across with your numerators. So this is 18 over 12. We do need to change this into a mixed number. You're looking at how many times can 12 go into 18. 12 can go into 18 one time. 18 minus 12 gives me 6 over 12, which would reduce to 1 1/2. I'll show you a little bit later on in the actual lesson if you're not quite sure where I got that mixed number from. I'll go over that with you. Here, when we're subtracting the mixed numbers, you're going to subtract the whole number, so 5 minus 3, that's going to give me 2. You're also going to subtract your numerators, so 27 minus 19, that's going to give me 8 over 35. And that will not reduce anymore, so that's going to be my final answer. 3, negative 9 plus 7. Just adding my numerators, that's going to give me negative 2 over 18, which will reduce down to negative 1 over 9. I was able to divide both the top and the bottom of that fraction by a common factor of 2. Bottom one down here, negative 5 and a negative 16. That's going to give me negative 21 over 21, which will reduce down to negative 1. So that's the warm-up. So now let's get into what happens when we add and subtract these lovely fractions without a common denominator. So essential question, adding, subtracting like and unlike fractions. That's what we were just talking about. So in our warm-up, we added and subtracted with the like fractions. So our focus today is really going to be on these unlike fractions. And in order to do that, we need to find a common denominator, something that both fractions have in common. In this case, I can very easily multiply the second equation, top and bottom, by 4 to get a common denominator of 12. It's going to give me 5 over 12 plus 4 over 12. 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12. Now I can add just like I did in the warm-up. I'm just adding my numerators together. That's 9 over 12. That will reduce. I can divide top and bottom by 3, giving me 3/4 as my final answer. Looking at problem 2, I need a common denominator that I can use with 6 and 9. So I need something that when I multiply 6 by some number and I get an answer, and when I multiply 9 by a different number I get the same answer. And there's lots of common denominators. You don't have to use the smallest. You just need to use one that matches. Some students like to just multiply the 6 and the 9 together and use 54 and go about it that way. That's fine. Actually, the smallest one in this case is going to be 18. I can multiply the 6 top and bottom by 3 and the 9 top and bottom by 2. That'll give me 18 for both of them. So it's negative 15 over 18 plus negative 14 over 18. When I add those together, I'm going to get negative 29 over 18. If you remember, I told you I'd show you how to do this a little bit later. And the easiest way to change an improper fraction into a mixed number is to do the long division. I'm not going to worry about the negative right now. So I'm going to bring the 29 down inside the division bracket. 18 will go into 29 one time. 1 times 18 is 18. I'm going to subtract. That's going to give me 11. 18 will not go into 11 anymore. So 11 becomes my new numerator. 18 stays my denominator. Now I will move the negative over. So negative 1 and 11 over 18 is my final answer for that one. Looking at the last one here on this slide, I need a common denominator. Easiest one is going to be 2. I'm going to multiply top and bottom of that first fraction by 2. common denominator of 8, multiplying by 2. So that gives me negative 2 over 8 plus 1 over 8. Add my numerators. That's negative 1 over 8 as my final answer for that one. So these are a few problems for you to practice. I would strongly encourage you to stop the video, try them, and then turn it back on and I'll go over. Remember, if you don't happen to pick the same common denominator I do, that's fine. But when we simplify down at the end, our answer still should match. So in the first one, I'm going to use a common denominator of 12. First one, multiply top and bottom by 3. Second one, multiply top and bottom by 4. So that gives me negative 9 over 12 plus negative 4 over 12. That's negative 13 over 12, which is negative 1 and 1/12 as our final answer. 5. Lots of common denominators you could use. I'm going to use 36. So I'm going to multiply this first one by 3 top and bottom. Second one top and bottom. Wait, maybe it's not 3. Nope, 48. So 4 and 4 and 3 and 3. That will look a little better. So that's 4 over 48 plus 9 over 48. That gives me 13 over 48, and that will not reduce any further. Number 6, multiply the first one by 2 in order to get a common denominator of 18. So negative 2 over 18 plus negative 5 over 18. That's negative 7 over 18. And again, it will not reduce, so that's my final answer. Now we're going to add and subtract mixed numbers. In order for me to add and subtract mixed numbers, the easiest way for me to do it is I make everything an improper fraction. So I change from a mixed number back to an improper fraction, add or subtract if I need to, and then I convert back if necessary. That's just the method I use. If you have another method that works well for you, you are certainly more than welcome to use that. So I'm going to start and I'm going to do 5 times negative 4. Or 5 times 4, forget about the negative right now, 5 times 4 and add 2. It's going to give me 22 over 5. Now I will bring that negative over. Don't bring it over when you're actually multiplying. So 11 times 2 is 22, plus 6 is 28 over 11. Now I bring that negative over. I need to find a common denominator. So now I need to find my common denominator. Easiest common denominator is probably using 55. So the first one I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 11. That's going to end up giving me 1,210 over 55. Second one, top and bottom by 5. That's 140, negative 140, and negative 210 over 55. And go ahead and add my numerators together. That's going to give me negative 1,350 over 55. And go ahead and do the long division. I'm going to get negative 24 and 30 over 55, which will reduce to negative 24 and divide top and bottom by 5. So that would be negative 6 over 11. So that's that one. Unfortunately, with changing everything to improper fractions, you do end up with some very large numbers. But I have found even with the larger numbers, there's less chance making a mistake. So that's why I strongly encourage changing everything to improper. Looking at number 2, same thing. I'm going to make it all improper. Let me change to red so we don't get it confused. It's going to give me 51 over 5. That's going to give me negative 23 over 4. Multiply by 4. Multiply by 5. So 51 times 4 is 204 over 20 plus negative 115 over 20. I'm going to go ahead and add those two together. And I get 89 over 20, which is going to give me 4 and 9 over 20 as my final answer for that one. Last problem, number 3 down here. Again, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make them improper. So it's negative 23 over 5 plus 7 times 15 plus 4 is 109 over 15. I'm going to multiply by 3, multiply by 3. That's negative 69 over 15 plus 109 over 15. That gives me 40 over 15, which will end up giving me 2 and 10 over 15, which will reduce to 2 and 2/3 as my final answer on that one. Now we're going to look at simplifying a variable expression. It's exactly the same thing we've been doing, but now we're going to be using variables. First thing, you want to put a 1 in front of any variable that does not have a number in front of it. Change subtraction to plus the opposite, plus negative 1. Find your common denominator, so I'm going to multiply by 3. Only multiply the numbers. Don't worry about the variable. Just kind of bring it along for the ride. So it's going to give me 3a over 6 plus negative 1a over 6. Add my numerators, just the numbers. Carry the a along. So it's going to give me 2a over 6. The 2 and the 6 will both divide by 2, giving me 1a over 3 as my final answer. So again, you notice I'm not doing anything with that variable. I'm just kind of bringing it along. Change subtraction to plus the opposite in the second one. Put a variable in front of that m. Need to find a common denominator. Easiest one's going to be 15. So multiply by 3 for the first one. Multiply by 5 for the second one. That's going to give me 3m over 15 plus negative 10m over 15. Add my numerators, that's negative 7m over 15. So now we have the wonderful privilege of adding or subtracting more than 2 numbers. So you have to find a common denominator between all 3. First thing, make sure everything's in the same format. So everything in this case needs to be improper. We can't have one mixed number and the other ones with just a numerator and a denominator. So it's 11 over 6 plus negative 3 over 4. Easiest common denominator in this case is 12. I can easily get the 3, the 6, and the 4 into 12. First parenthesis, top and bottom will multiply by 4. Second parenthesis, top and bottom by 2. Last parenthesis, top and bottom by 3. So negative 8 over 12 plus 22 over 12 plus negative 9 over 12. It does not matter what order you add these in. I'm going to add the 2 negatives together first and get negative 17 over 12 plus 22 over 12. When I add those two together, I end up with positive 5 over 12 as my final answer. And that will not reduce any further. 2, you will notice that they are all mixed numbers. Again, I like to make everything improper. So it's 11 over 2 plus 5 over 4 plus 5 over 2. Common denominator in this case, common denominator will be 4. So multiply by 2 for the first and the last one. The middle one already has the common denominator, so I don't need to multiply that. So that's going to give me 22 over 4 plus 5 over 4 plus 10 over 4. Any order I want, so this is 27 over 4 plus 10 over 4. That's 37 over 4. Change that into a mixed number. 4 times 9 is 36. 37 minus 36 is 1. So 9 and 1/4 is my final answer for that second problem. You should have a homework worksheet to try. If you don't have it in front of you, it should be on my website. Again, I know adding and subtracting fractions is not everyone's favorite thing. But unfortunately, it is something that we have to work with and become more proficient at.